Becky or Vicky, Becky? I can't see it. Oh, you're not there? Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm back. Brooks, sorry that I'm late. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I was running around. I hate that voice. That voice has got to go. Err. People wonder why I want voice surgery. Okay. So, anyway, hi, everybody. I'm back. We'll get started here in a second. Feel free to chat in the chatty chat. Who is here? Is it Blicky? 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 Hi, Blicky. And Loves Lemons sitting right to my right. And we'll get right into this here. Christine, as people chime in, you can say hello to them. No, not that way. I mean, just text. Yeah. Turn your microphone on when I'm finished with the main structured part of the thing. What we do here is I'll do the structure part, talk about some topics from today. And I didn't put my lipstick on, I forgot. But I'm going to go anyway. Okay, here we go. Let's get started. The El Paso airport shut down, for those of you that didn't know. And so what really happened? Who knows? Said it was for security reasons. Like for 10 days, they shut down, like out of the blue. So tonight we're going to talk about the El Paso, airport situation. Not the military base, the public airport, because this story moved fast. And when information moves fast, people fill in the blanks themselves. So tonight we're not assuming anything. We're walking through what is known, what has been reported, and what each possibility would actually mean if it were true. Here's what we know first. The FAA issued a temporary flight restriction around El Paso International Airport. Flights were stopped, commercial flights, cargo flights, everything. The initial notice mentioned security reasons. No details, no explanations, and that's where speculation starts. One explanation has been reported as drone-related security concerns. Officials said drones believed to be connected to the cartel activity entered or approached U.S. airspace. If that's true, the shutdown makes sense. If you clear the airspace, you remove civilian aircraft. You deal with problem safety. The problem safety. Because counter drone measures are not something, you want around passenger jets. In that scenario, the system worked. Threat appears, airport airspace clears, threat handled, flights resume. Second possibility, orientation conflict. That means something was happening in the airspace that couldn't safely mix with civilian traffic. Military activity, testing, or defensive systems operating nearby. Even at a public airport, airspace overlaps. If safety can't be guaranteed, the FAA shuts it down. Not dramatic, just risk management. Third possibility, an intelligence warning that turned out to be less serious than expected. This happens. Information comes in quickly. Agencies act quickly. Later information changes. The picture restrictions get lifted, right? The picture restriction. Tongue-tied. Restrictions get lifted from the outside. It's confusing from the inside, and it looks cautious. Now we get to the part that people online keep talking about. The idea that pilots were being threatened if they tried to land. That language sounds intense. But it's standard wording. Any restricted airspace notices includes interception language. It means an aircraft ignoring instructions. Fighters can be sent to identify, literally military fighters can be sent to identify that plane. It's not a personal threat to the pilot. It's enforcement. It's enforcement language. And then there's the PSYOP theory. That's one I like. PSYOP theory. People always ask this question when information is limited. But psychological operations need a clear goal. Who's the audience? What behavior is it being, right? Who is it change? What outcome is being pushed? Right now, there's no clear answer to that. Confusion alone is not evidence of intent. So where does that leave us? When we have a shutdown, we have a short shutdown, multiple explanations, and incomplete public details, which is normally normal when security agencies are involved, but leaves room for interpretation. And that's where you come in. What do you actually think happened? If you've heard, I haven't watched the news in a while, but what do you think actually happened? If you know the answer, please put it in the chat. Because I heard it was a 10-day shutdown and they were only citing security concerns, which scares me. Right? Is it an overreach? I don't know. Is it a coordinated problem? Don't know. Between agencies? Don't know. Or something else. And more importantly, would the evidence change your mind? Because stories like this say as much about how we interpret events as they do about the event themselves, right? So it is what it is, I guess. So my next take here is, this is my take on it. Now I want to add my take to this. And I want to be clear about something first. I'm not here to speculate. I'm not here to guess what specifically happened at the airport, because when officials say something security related, sometimes the honest answer is you have to accept they know things that we don't. When language shows up saying aircraft could be intercepted or entering restricted airspace could bring serious consequences, that tells you one thing: something serious enough is happening. And they want complete control of the airspace. That doesn't mean panic, but it does mean attention. I've said this for years. The people most Americans see in the news, the criminals, the ones committing, obvious crimes, the ones getting arrested, those are not the ones that I worry about most. The ones I worry about are the ones you never hear about. The disciplined ones, the organized ones, the ones that quietly and take time, because real threats don't usually announce themselves. They intrigate, they wait, they prepare. And this is where my concern comes in. When large numbers of people enter our country without full identification vetting, the challenge for intelligence and law enforcement grows. Not because most people are dangerous, because they aren't, but because it only takes a few small number of organized people to cause enormous damage. History has shown that. The attacks on September 11th were carried out by 19 hijackers. 19. Not hundreds, not thousands. 19. That's a small number. Small numbers can have massive impacts if they coordinate and have patience. So when I talk about border security, I'm not talking about fear of immigrants. I'm talking about risk management, and the government's job is to know who is entering, who is staying, and whether they are a threat. And also whether they're a threat over time. Because large-scale threats rarely happen immediately. They develop over years. Planning takes time. Networks take integration. Right? And this is where I struggle with the current conversation. On one hand, we have people saying enforcement and investigations are necessary. On the other hand, we say people protesting, even the idea of investigations, that's a disconnect. It doesn't make sense to me that you can compromise and still believe in security, because I don't think there's a compromise here. We have to control our borders. There's no choice about it. We're on the opposite sides of the fence on a lot of things here. The country's split right down the middle. So I'm not saying this airport situation is connected to, anything or anyone or anything bad. It's just kind of fishy to me out of the blue like this. There's no evidence that there is. The events like this remind people why security systems exist in the first place, why borders exist, why intelligence gathering exists. My caution exists. And I want to clear about one more thing. this isn't about trying to scare anyone. It's about asking people to think long term, because the worst outcome in history usually comes from problem ignored till they get so big you can't stop it anymore, right? And none of us want another moment that unites the country through tragedy. Hopefully, we never see that again. That's my take. What's your take on this? What do you guys think? Right? Right, Chrissy?
I'm on you.
You're on me?
I'm reading.
Wow, you're on me?
I'm reading all over the place.
Ooh, you're on me. Anybody who they want to chime in on that at all or anything?
There are no constructive criticism comments at all.
No constructive criticism comments?
No.
Does that mean there's criticism though?
Uh-huh.
We'll get to the chat. I will address the live chat when I'm done with the structured part of the show.
Exactly.
We'll get to it. We'll get to all you lovely people and all your lovely questions, because you just love me so much. You want to marry me. I know. So just give it a minute. We will get there.
Are you a witch?
Depends. You'll have to wait and find out. Right?
That's one
When we
of
get
those
to the
things.
part of the chat, then I'll tell you whether or not I'm a witch. Right?
Yes.
Isn't that the way it goes?
Somebody else said deadly force is always constructive.
Deadly force. It can be, right?
I
Right?
suppose so.
Right. Okay, so next subject, the collapse of trust and why nobody believes anything anymore. Tonight I want to talk about trust. Not politics first, not left or right, trust itself. Because something has changed and most people feel it, even if they can't explain it. There was a time when most people believed that institutions worked. Not perfectly, but generally. Government, media, doctors, universities, courts. People argued about decisions, but they believed in the system itself, that it was trying to function. That belief is fading fast. Today, two people can look at the same event, come away with two completely different realities. Not different opinions, different realities. And both sides believe the other one is being misled, or lying, or manipulated. That level of distrust is new. And it matters because society runs on trust. More than laws, more than rules. Trust is invisible glue. So what changed? There isn't just one answer. There are several things that happened at the same time. First, information exploded. For most of history, information moved slowly. Newspapers, evening news, snail mail, right? Limited sources. Now everything and everyone has a microphone. Everyone has an audience. And speed beats accuracy, right? Being first matters more than being right. When information changes later, people don't see correction, they see inconsistency. And inconsistency looks like dishonesty. Second, institutions started changing positions publicly, sometimes for good reasons. New information, new research, new realities. But to the public, it felt like rules kept changing. One year, something is true. The next year, it isn't. People don't always see evolution. They see reversal. And reversal erodes confidence. Third, social media changed incentives, right? Outrage spread faster than calm discussions. Anger gets clicks. Clicks get engagement. Nuance gets ignored. So the loudest voices become the most visible voices. And the loudest voices are rarely the most balanced. Over time, people begin to assume everything is exaggerated, even when it isn't. Another problem is stopping admitting mistakes clearly. People don't admit it anymore. Instead of saying, we were wrong, we started hearing explanations, reframe, justification, and people notice that trust doesn't require perfection. It requires honesty. When honesty disappears, trust follows, right? There's also some deeper things happening. People feel less represented, less heard, right? I mean, I do. Even though I'm on here, I still feel less heard. I feel like I'm running my mouth, but nobody's hearing me. My chat usually will actually collaborate that.
Mhm.
People feel ignored. They stop trusting the system entirely because every decision is wrong because they no longer believe their voice matters inside it. That feeling spreads quickly. And once trust breaks, it's very hard to rebuild. Now, here's the uncomfortable part. Distrust doesn't stay targeted, it spreads. First, people stop trusting media, then government, then science, then elections, then each other. Eventually, everyone assumes bad intent. And that's dangerous because cooperation becomes impossible when nobody believes anyone else is acting in good faith. You can see this everywhere now. Every story becomes a battle. Every event becomes proof of what someone already believed. Confirmation replaces curiosity. People stop asking what is true and start asking, who does this help? And here's the irony. The more people distrust institutions, the more they turn to individual online influencers like me, commentators, personalities, people like me, people like you. But individuals aren't institutions. We don't have verification systems. We don't have oversight. We have opinions. So distrust shifts. It doesn't disappear. And another reason trust is collapsing, expectations, right? Modern society promises certainty, safety, stability, progress, but reality is messy. People don't disappear. Mistakes happen. When expectations are too high, normal failure feels like betrayal, and betrayal destroys trust, right? It's faster than anything. So, what happens next? That's the real question. Because a society without trust doesn't immediately collapse, it fragments. People build smaller circles. They trust family, friends, small communities, but not any larger. And when a nation trust disappears, shared, right?
Right.
What?
Yep.
Shared
Right.
direction will disappear. Everyone pulls in the different direction. Now, if I wanted to be clear about something, skepticism is healthy. Questioning authority is healthy. Blind trust is dangerous. But permanent distrust is also dangerous. Because if nobody believes, then the truth itself loses value. And when the truth loses value, only power remains. So how do we rebuild trust? It's not complicated, but it is difficult. Consistency, transparency, admitting mistakes quickly, explaining decisions clearly, and treating people like adults instead of audiences. So, trust returns slowly, but only when people feel respected again. And maybe that's the real issue. Maybe people just don't feel heard. Maybe they feel misinformed. Maybe they feel talked down to, ignored, managed, instead of informed.
Joe
That
has a
feeling creates
comment about that.
resistance. What's that?
Joe has a comment about that.
Okay, want to go ahead?
It never ceases to amaze me that lack of basic human decency on the internet.
Yeah.
Everyone points the fingers and says that's bad, but forget you have 3 fingers pointing right back at yourself.
Well, that's a good one. That's an oldie but a goodie. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, a question for the rest of you too, right? Who's right? Who's bigger than that? Why has trust itself become so fragile? And what happens if we don't fix it? Because without trust, every disagreement becomes a crisis. Every decision becomes suspicious. And every institution becomes temporary. That's my observation. What do you see? Right?
That's right.
Do you think trust can come back? Do you think this is our new normal? Let's talk about it. Tell me what you think in the chat. Do you think you'll ever get trust back in the government? Do you trust the government? Will you ever trust the government again? Me? No, because they've done nothing but lie. I asked ChatGPT tonight on my way to the store. I said, ChatGPT, when was the last time America didn't have conflict or division? She said, never. 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 We've always been like this. That's craziness, right?
It is. It seems crazy, but it is true.
Yeah, it's just.
There's always been something.
How did we survive 200 years? I don't even know.
There's always been something.
I don't know. So, okay. So let's talk about anything. Let's talk about trust in the country. I want to talk about trust in my own life. Because for me, trust isn't abstract. It's not an abstract idea. It's personal.
Bad Birdie has an idea.
Go ahead.
Bad Birdie has an idea.
Okay, let's hear what Bad Birdie has to say.
Those who are choosing to ignore her words simply because of how she looks and sounds are the same people holding us back as a species.
Agreed. 100%. Close your eyes and listen to what I say, right? And then your prejudice or your bias might not get in the way. Because what I say here affects us all. So like I said, back to trust. When it comes to me, trust is important. I've had a woman I had to walk away from because she was unfaithful. She was my wife. We were supposed to be married forever. And when that happens, trust changes. Not just in a relationship, in how you see everything afterwards. I trusted my mom to give us a safe house, to marry the right person. Didn't quite work out. It's not her fault. I don't blame her. But trust slips a little bit then, right? And when things fall apart between us, I'm not saying that my mom was wrong at all. I'm saying trust was shaken a little bit. And once it's shaken, something inside you changes. Like my daughter trusted me to always be there, and I changed. Trust was shaken. Right? Life changed. And that trust was hurt too. That stays with you. You don't grow out of it, but you don't forget it. I trusted my older brothers to protect me. Instead, sometimes they were the one that hurt me. Trust broke there too. And when trust breaks enough times, you start to see a pattern. Trust isn't lost in one big moment. It's lost in many small ones. So when I look at what's happening today, I don't see politics. I see something familiar. I see people who no longer trust each other. We don't trust institutions anymore. We don't trust our local channels of news because they lie. They broke our trust. We don't trust our neighbors. We don't even trust people who voted differently than us because they can't be right, right? They didn't vote like us. There was a time when Americans disagreed strongly, but still trusted the other person, right? They still wanted a country to succeed. People somewhere along the way, that changed. That defragmented. And it feels like betrayal to me. Different opinions don't feel like threats to me anyway. They feel like conversation pieces, a thing to talk about. But once trust disappears, every conversation becomes a fight. That's what we're seeing now. So when I talk about trust in this country, this is where it comes from, personal experience. Seeing how hard it is to rebuild trust once it's gone. And realize that maybe what we're watching right now is millions of people feeling the same fracture at the same time. And that leads into my take. What happens to a country when trust becomes, right? When trust is lost, when people start to disappear. That's what I want to talk about. What do you guys think? Do you trust anything anymore? Do you trust the news when you turn it on? Do you trust your neighbors if they don't agree with you on everything? It's crazy. Do you trust your boss that they're not shorting you on your page? Trust is gone. I remember you used to be able to leave your kids with the neighbor. Remember that, Chris?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to the store. Can my kids stay here for a while? Of course. You would hire the teenage girl down the street to babysit your kids while you went out with your husband or your wife. I don't think so. Right?
Right. It might be different these days.
Is there anything that you still trust? Do you trust your spouse? Do you really trust them? Me?
I do.
You do?
I do.
You're not married.
I don't need a spouse to be married.
But you need a spouse to trust your spouse. Did you trust your ex-husband?
Yes, I did.
Was it worth it?
No, it was not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Mine neither. Okay, so that's what it is. So that message, it reflects a difference, right? The difference between anger and trust. Online anger is different. It's a different beast, a real life beast. Because human kindness, I was noticing today, because I know what the chat's saying right now about me. I know what they're commenting on, because I hear it all the time.
Mhm.
I tonight when I was out for about 2 hours shopping around, buying some things we need for the house. I was purposely watching strangers to see if anybody would give that same vibe that I get online so readily, right? I got looks, you know. I had kind of a low cut shirt on, so I expected some looks. I got some snarls from the ladies. I got some looks from the guys. I got a couple laughs, a couple smirks. Nobody said a word, not one word. But look at the chat.
Right.
My
Because-
question for the chat is,
Mhm.
if you see me in public, would you verbally say to me what you're writing down?
No,
That's
they
what I
would
want.
not.
Would you say to me?
They can hide
Would you
behind
walk me
it.
up behind me in line and go,
No,
"Hey, you're a dude,"
no.
or would you just do what everybody else does and just ignore me? Right?
I think a lot of these people are hiding behind their names
Maybe.
online.
Maybe not. Maybe they would come up to me and say that.
Maybe they would.
Maybe they would. But I'll tell you, because of people like this on my thing, I'm not comfortable using a bathroom in public, even though I have all the right parts. I'm not comfortable doing it. Oh God, that's terrible. That
What are you
water's
doing?
really hard.
Drinking that hard water again, huh?
So anyway,
Someone did just call for you to have a drink.
hey guys, kindness often goes unnoticed, right? Especially online. So I got a few messages after my last live a couple days ago, and people were saying these are people that are on the right, saying that, you know, if other trans people had the same ideas and the same thought pattern that you do, I wouldn't have a problem with them. But the problem is, you're like one in a million. They're not like you. Well, I beg to differ. I think that more of them are like me than you think. The issue is we need to get the other part to change the narrative that they've been wrapped into, that they've tucked into. Like the other night, I also had a conversation with ChatGPT. It lasted 3 hours arguing whether or not there's an advantage for transgender women in sports. I'm saying there's a clear argument that they have an advantage. And ChatGPT, since it's programmed by a left-wing company and a few guys who generally lean left, she would not give up on her argument. And there was no winning that. I even asked her, is there any possible way for you to prove that there's an even playing field between women and transgender women? She said, no. I go, then why the hell are you arguing with me? Oh, because you're not seeing it right. I said, here was my argument. You guys tell me if I was wrong or right. ChatGPT says when you bring up the subject of children getting surgeries or medically transitioning, ChatGPT says it's less than 1% of kids are getting transitioned. You know, okay, great, whatever. So I asked it, I go, well, then that means that 99% of kids playing sports against women in school are going through male puberty. Therefore, they're building strength as they go, not losing it. And she didn't like that argument. She wanted to backtrack. And I go, you can't, when this is the machine I'm arguing with. But the whole point is, that shows you how unfair it is. And the average boy and girl, the boy has a 40% advantage physically over the girl when it comes to sports. And somehow along the way. But here's my point to this is, how many of our kids listen to ChatGPT for advice? How many of them take that advice and run with it? How many of them will stop and question it like I did? Not very many. So they're just going to take that as gospel. And that's not fair. That's not right. That's why we have a bunch of kids out there protesting things they really don't understand. That's just my thought on it. What's your guys' thought? What do you think? Am I crazy? Well, don't answer that.
I was just
what
about
you think about that. You were just about to?
Yes.
Well, I know what you think. So I'll end this something with a little bit different, because if you spend enough time online watching the news or scrolling through the comment sections, you can start to believe something that isn't actually true. You start to believe that everyone is angry, that everyone is divided, that people don't trust each other anymore. And if that was all you saw, it would make sense for you to think about that way online, right? Everything is louder. The worst moments travel the fastest. The most extreme opinions get the most attention. Of course, we all know that. Calm doesn't go viral, or I would have already.
Matthew on here suggested that they're all keyboard warriors.
Yeah, they are. And there are a lot of them are young too.
Mm-hmm.
So normal doesn't trend. And every kindness doesn't get clicks, right?
Right.
But here's the strange thing. When you step away from the screen, people usually aren't like that. In real life, people hold doors open, right? They really do. They help someone reach for something that they can't, that's too high on the shelf. They let you merge in traffic. They make small talk in line, even when they disagree about everything else. Up close, most people are just people. They're tired. They're trying to pay bills. They're trying to raise kids right. They're trying to make sense of a world that feels like it's moving faster every year. And most of them are not looking for a fight. The internet compresses humanity into arguments. Real life expands. It's back onto face and voice, right? You realize quickly that disagreement doesn't automatically mean hatred. Two people can see the world differently and still laugh at the same joke in public, right? Still help each other when something goes wrong.
Right.
Loan your neighbor your lawnmower because theirs broke. Still recognize that other people are just trying to live their lives. And that's something worth remembering, because while a lot has changed, not everything important has. People still gather around food. Families still sit at tables. Music is still reminds you of who you used to be. And here's another thing people don't realize. You're living in the good times now. At least you'll think that when you're older, right? Nobody gets older and says, boy, I'm in the good times now. They always think those were the good old days. That's where you're living now. Right?
That's right.
Familiar smells can still bring back 20-year-old memories, right? You ever notice that, Chris? You get a whiff of a smell.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It reminds you like your lunch pail when you were a kid and open it, smell like bologna and white bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or mustard or whatever. It always brings, or a whiff of something. It's your boyfriend or girlfriend's first perfume. Yeah.
Yes.
Craziness. Coffee. Every time I smell coffee, I think of my grandma's house.
Oh, wow.
20 years, Okay. Yeah. Anyway, the small things survived. The things that actually make you feel like a human being didn't disappear just because the world got louder. We talk about what's broken: politics, culture, trust, institution, and some of those conversations matter. They should happen. But if all you ever focus on is what is broken, you miss what is still working. Neighbors still help neighbors when storms hit. Strangers still stop when someone's car breaks down. People still show up for each other at funerals. And hospitals, at hard moments when cameras aren't rolling, no one posts those moments. They don't. They just happen quietly. Christine was just in the hospital and got treated wonderfully. Wonderfully. She had an adverse effect to one medicine. What did the hospital do? They sat somebody with her all night long to make sure she was okay. That's the kindness that doesn't get noticed. That's the kindness nobody talks about, right? Is that true, Chris?
That's true.
That's true. So, what matters more? Because they're they're just human instincts. People don't wake up wanting to make the world worse. They wake up wanting things to be okay for their family, for their kids, for themselves. And you remember that. When you remember that, the world feels less hostile. Not perfect, not simple, but manageable. The truth is, people are often better up close than they are from a distance. That reminds me of a look. You know, gorgeous at 10 feet, but 10 feet from gorgeous, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to fear groups, right? It's harder to hate individuals once you actually know them. Remember that, chat. If you ever got to know me, I don't think you would hate me. I really don't. I don't think you would dislike me. I think you would actually enjoy my company.
Well, I enjoy your company. I think you're funny.
There you go. She thinks I'm
And
funny.
you've got a lot
Not
of good
just
things to discuss.
I like football. I know
Yeah.
the rules.
We like
I
football.
talk about football.
Yeah.
I was talking to my boss today. We were talking about football. We were talking about the Raiders and the coach and all that stuff. And I said, most people in my circle don't know anything about football. Most trans people generally don't know a lot about football. And my boss looks at me and goes, you do? I says, I know. I says, but because I'm trans, they assume I don't like football. I love football. I just hate the way the Raiders play. We suck for so long, it's hard to watch. That's all I'm saying. But now we got a new coach, the offensive coordinator from the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to get a new quarterback coming out of college. It's the beginning. We'll see. Back to what we were talking about. What do you guys think? Right? The idea that you don't have to agree with someone to recognize their humanity. If your neighbors are gone on vacation and their lawn's dying, do you water it for them? Of course you do. If you have an old lady next door to you who can't get around anymore and you're mowing your lawn, hers is
Go across and mow
attached to
hers
it,
too.
do you keep going or do you turn around and only cut your grass?
Yeah.
Those are the things you have to ask yourself. We got a super chat here.
Steamy has one for you.
We'll get you. Steamy does?
Eve is transgender. She was made from the chromosomes of Adam via Adam's bones.
True. Took a rib. God said he took a rib, made Eve. That is a fact. Absolutely. Thank you for the donation, by the way. I appreciate it. Really helps. Is those euros? Oh my God. What is that? Like 550 US?
Lyra.
So
Yeah.
technology changes arguments, of course. Right? But basics don't. My problem, my fear is at my age, and a lot of people watching this, we remember what it is to be human to your neighbor. But will our kids know that? Will they remember it? Or will they spend so much time in front of a computer screen that they'll forget or never learn what it is to simply be kind and courteous to your neighbors or your friends? Because in the end, we all need each other. We can't do this alone. Now, I mean, I'm not trying to preach at anybody. I'm just trying to save face. There is two things that I used to count on. For my own, I can get away from the whole world and enjoy myself for these two events. One of them was the Super Bowl. And I knew for about 4 hours, I could just forget all my problems and watch a football game, the American sport, the American thing, watch the silly commercials, ignore the halftime show, and then watch the rest. That was one of my things. And this year, they decided to make the halftime show political. That's why they had somebody who spoke only Spanish in an English-speaking country. He didn't even bother mixing in English songs.
No
It
subtitles.
felt like a slap to the face to a lot of people on the right. The left laughed. They thought the right deserved it. My point is, they took something that was supposed to be, forget everything else, let's just watch the game, and made it to where we divided it. It was divided again. We couldn't all come together and watch the game. It had to be divided. Why did they do that? I'm not saying they should or they shouldn't have had that artist on singing. I'm just saying, if you didn't know that somebody's singing all in Spanish during the whole ICE thing that's going on, it would have caused an issue, but you did it anyway. Intentionally? Is Roger Goodell that brain dead? I don't think so. So why would you want to divide the country even more during that? And the second thing that I used to love to do is watch ice skating during the Olympics. I love the ice skating part. It's so cool. They're so talented. And yet, what's happening now? Our kids are over there getting ready to compete, talking about what's going on in Minnesota, talking about, I can't really support the US right now because they're not doing everything I like. Look, guys, we have freedom of speech, but you don't stand up at a wedding and say touchdown or whatever. You know, there's a time and there's a place. And you say, I want to use my platform for good. Guys, that's not your platform. That's our platform. You are representing the entire country. When you get home, stand on your soapbox, use your platform to support whatever you want. When you're over there, the letters on the front of your shirt are way more important than the name on the back. And if you don't think so, then maybe you should just come home, right? You're supporting the Democrats and the Republicans as Americans. This is not the place to voice your political opinions, right? When you come home, do it all you want. But over there, you represent me and her and the trolls and the nice people and the bad people. You represent all of us. Where's the coaches? Where's the adult in the room saying that's not the right time for this? These kids think that they're doing something noble. They're not. They're showing the whole world how broken we are here at home. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. You can completely think that they have the right to say it, and they do have the right, but is it the right time and the right place to say it? That's my question. So they've taken my Super Bowl. Now they're taking my Olympics. I just wanted a little bit of peace because I love the ice skating so much. The speed skating. And remember the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. When the guy in the skis was crashing all over the place.
Yeah.
And what happened when the biggest problem at the Super Bowl halftime show was a wardrobe malfunction? You remember that when the titty fell out?
Of course, yeah.
Who was that? Was that Janet Jackson?
Yes.
Janet Jackson's titty fell out, you know. Oh, they said it was a wardrobe malfunction, but the guy kind of did it on purpose. Those were the good old days where all we talked about was Budweiser frogs and wardrobe malfunctions. It just felt like warm apple pie to me. What's your guys' thought? Anything you want to add to this, Chris? Anybody?
I'm reading along the comments. They're not aligning with what you're talking about quite yet.
There's got to be some in there. It's probably just hard to see them, but that's okay. So let's end this with nothing. Let's just end this. I'm going to go to the chat now.
Okay.
I've been going for about 45 minutes or so. Let's see, what is that? 45 minutes, yeah. So let's give the last half an hour to the chat. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask. But before I turn to the chat and go to your questions and your comments, hear me out, because this might answer a lot of your questions right off the bat. I personally do not think children under 18 years old should be allowed to transition. They do not have the mental capacity to make those decisions. We do not let them make medical decisions for anything else. Why would we let them make medical decisions for this, right? You must be 18 to make your own decisions. I know kids that are trans don't like that, but you're going to be trans before, you'll be trans after you're 18 if you're true. Because if even one kid makes a mistake and it gets misdiagnosed and they cut the breast off or they alter themselves medically, you can't go backwards. Kids must wait until you're at least 18, 25 would be better. Do transgender athletes belong in women's sports? Absolutely, 100% no. They have a physical advantage. It's not my saying this. This is science. Science has proved it. They have a 30 to 40% strength and production advantage over their opponents. So even if you take hormones for a year, you'll lose 10%. That still gives you 30 to 20% over your things. And until we can realize that, we need to look at reality, not what somebody wants. And it's okay to tell your kid, no, you can't compete against them because you have an advantage and it's not fair to the lady. Stop taking stuff from women to make yourself feel more like one. It doesn't work like that. That's wrong. No women, transgender women in women's sports. Let's leave their sports to them and find another way. Last thing, bathrooms. If you have a penis, you don't belong in the women's showers, okay? You don't belong where women take their clothes off. That's their safe space, right? Right? If you need to use the bathroom in public and you look like me, then use the ladies' room. If you look like a dude, use the dude's room. Because there, it's not about taking your clothes off. We all have stalls. We can go pee and poo, whatever we need to do. But in when you take your clothes off, where ladies' locker rooms are, if you have a penis, you don't belong in there. You just don't. I'm sorry. I know that pisses some people off. The last thing I'm going to say about it before I start to take questions is, we are not biological females. We are transgender women. There's a difference. You know there's a difference. We don't get pregnant. Somebody asks you if you can get pregnant. You say, no, I can't. I'm biological male. I can't do that. As soon as we can, like, just get on the same page for these few little things, watch how much of the hate from the public goes away. Because those things are all common sense. And until we can at least have common sense in the argument, when that happens, we'll be a lot happier. That's my take on the most commonly asked questions in the chat. Now, if you have something else you want to ask me, I will answer it. I will answer just about every question that you have, honestly, and yeah, honestly,
straightforward, yeah.
Straightforward and honest.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead. What do you got, Chrissy? I'll help you out.
Yep. I'm scrolling down here. There's a lot of questions that are not related to what you're talking about, though.
Okay, well, let's find some stuff.
A lot of things.
Ain't born like that. LOL. Actually, I was born like this, but if you would like an explanation, I'd be more than happy to explain it to you. Okay, let's see. You have a wig. You're right, people. You're not showing your intelligence very well here, okay? You're not doing good. It's obvious your father doesn't love you. My father's dead. Thank you. You feel like an asshole now? You should. Should I start calling some of these people out, Chris?
You should.
Okay, wait a minute. It doesn't matter how much you sabotage yourself, you will never be accepted. Look at, I don't live my life for you there, buckaroo. I live my life for me. If you can't accept that fact, then that's on you. That's not on me.
Relive Rewind says, I came here ready to hate, but very refreshing to hear this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not about hate. I'm not asking anybody out there to accept me for who I am. This is my life. I have to accept me. People that are close to me, you guys don't. I'm not expecting anybody to give me any kind of special treatment other than treat me like a human being in public, which you do. You do in public. On here, for some reason, y'all grow Batman wings and put a big dick on your chest, thinking that you're, super dick. I don't know. But I like to call people out. Pick out the worst comment that you can find, Chris. Tell me which one it is. Mm-hmm. How about sending hate from the UK? They're sending hate from the UK. Wow. Let's go to that person's channel. Let's see who you are. It is Bullbastar. Wow.
You're on a soapbox, but you need to be in a mental ward.
Maybe. But you know what? I make more sense from my soapbox than you do from your troll test. And Bullbastar, yeah, you're kind of weird. What is that in your little thing? Is that a little toy? You got a little toy as your representative? How cute. How old are you? 12? Okay.
Joe wants you to remod her because some people are spamming like crazy tonight. I want to check their pages so I can call them out.
Hi, Joe. Okay, hold on. Give me a minute, Joe. Let me find you.
Yeah, she wants to check their pages so she can call them out too.
Let me find you, Jojo. Let's see. What does Carl say right there? Is that Carl? Please seek. Oh, never mind. We'll save the Bible till the end too. We're gonna categorize this. So here's the deal. I want to call it trolls. If you want me to respond to something that you're saying, you want me to call you out, you want me to give you that 15 seconds of fame. Tell me why. Why do you hate me? Why do you not like me so much? Why do I insult you? And be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with us here as well. Say, because I'm afraid that, if I go to a bar, I can't even trust picking up a woman no more. It might be some chick with a dick. That's why I hate this bullshit. Tell me something like that, if that's the truth. Just make it intelligent, right? It's kind of hard to take anybody seriously when their comments or their questions or their whatever, it's just so dumb.
Okay, Emerald Box says, sorry if it's off topic slightly, but is 21 too late to transition? especially if I'm not good at
Too
making
late?
yeah.
I transitioned at 56. It's never too late.
especially
Right.
if I'm not good at making my
Right.
voice more feminine.
I ain't either. Duh, can't you tell? It's not about, it's about how you feel inside. If you have to ask that question, you're probably not transgender, right? Just my honest opinion. If you have to wonder whether or not it's going to work for you,
The age
it's not
that
going to
you'll
work.
do it. Yeah.
Because this is something that is inherently inside of you. You might want to seek some mental health counseling just to talk about the issues and see if it's possibly something else that's causing you to feel this way. Because once you start transitioning, you cannot go backwards, right? You can't go back. It's going to affect you. It will change you forever. Whether you stop and start, it will change you forever. And not in a way, if you want to be a guy, it's not going to change you in a way that's going to help that. So just think about it before, because you're asking questions that you should already know the answers to. That's just my opinion. I'm not a doctor. Okay, I seen a
Okay.
nice one here. Somebody had a decent one here. I have a genuine question. What made you realize
That you wanted to change your life around and be who you are now.
Find Joe too. Find Joe. Tell me so I can do what she wants.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What made me? It's something I felt my whole life. Right. I always knew that something was weird about me. Whenever I had any alone time or whatever, even when I was married, I would dress up like a girl, but it was never sexual. I didn't stand there and get excited. It just made me feel comfortable. When I was a little kid, like in 6th grade, I actually went to they used to have department stores, and I stole nylons so I could wear nylons at school. And I didn't even know why I wanted to do that. They just somehow gave me comfort.
Joe is just a little bit down from where we are right now.
What do you mean?
Joji,
Oh, okay.
she's under
Different.
Georgina
Yeah.
Jackson.
And when I was 6 years old, I know I'm going in reverse. When I was 6 years old, I used to pray to God to fix me when I would look down there. And I didn't even know why, because I was born this way, guys. I don't want to get into it now, the whole hypothalamus of the brain. If you want me to, I'll spit it out real quickly, but there's a reason I was born this way. Right? I was born this way, not created this way. It wasn't my environment. Trust me, if you grew up in my environment, the last thing you'd think about would be becoming a girl. Okay, why are people with hate here? I don't know. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Ignore them. Ask your questions. Let's get some good, honest questions in here, because that's what this is about. Boo crossing the camera, effing nerd, God lover. Okay, let's call that person out. Who is that talking like that to us here? Let's go to your channel there, partner. Go to channel. That is Brett. Brett has 1 subscriber and no information. When did you sign up there, Brett? Doesn't even say anything. Brett Shamblin? Brett, are you a child? Are you a minor? Do your parents know where you are? Do your parents know what you're doing?
Nicole is on.
Hmm?
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nikki.
She wants to know what's up with the mods.
Oh, I go on and off with them. When I clean up my whole channel, then they come off. But let me find you guys. Just take it easy on the people. I don't care what people say to me. It doesn't affect me. It's more important for me to get the algorithm to spread the channel and get the people in there so we can talk to the people. Because remember, there's probably 20 people texting right here, but there's 100 to 200 to 300 people watching. And those are the people that I want to reach. The people that aren't texting anything, they're actually listening to the content because they have real questions that they want to know. Because maybe their son or their daughter is trans, or a relative or a best friend, and they don't know where to turn. They don't know how to think about it. They don't know what to
Jayan
say.
right now.
Mhm.
Jayan says, I have a genuine question.
Mhm.
What made you realize that
just
you
read that.
wanted... What?
I just read that one.
Oh, you did? I'm
Yep.
so sorry. I got up and went to the kitchen.
I'm
missed
late. Was my question already discussed? Says Lalix. I don't know what your question was. I was doing my structured part of the show. Please ask it again. I know you're against surgeries. Me? I'm not. But what do you think about blockers? Oh, for kids? Okay. As far as blockers goes for children under 18, this is very unpopular amongst those kids because they want those blockers. But you were misled. Parents were misled when they were told that blockers could be turned off and on at will, and that they would have no adverse effect on the child. They do. They do. And I know people that are going to argue on here and go, no, they don't. No, they do. They change who you are. You cannot delay a natural process to change it. Now, kids want to do this. I know why you want to do it, because you don't want to have the voice like mine. You don't want to get taller. You don't want to get more man features going through puberty and stuff. But too bad, because a lot of kids that think that they have some kind of a gender dysphoria when they're young grow out of it. And maybe you won't, but maybe you will. That's why we have to leave that open. I don't think you should transition at all, except for how your appearance. You can present yourself any way that you want. Transitioning medically is, you just need to wait. You're still going to be a beautiful person. If you wait till you're 18, you can sign your own contracts. Nobody can tell you no, right? Before that, we have to be parents. We have to think 5 steps ahead. We have to think what could happen, not what's happening. We have to think, how would we feel if we were wrong? So as parents, as adults, we must do the right thing. Be the parent. Be the bad guy. You're not supposed to be your kid's best friend when they're kids. You're supposed to be their parents. If you're your kid's best friend, there's probably something wrong, right? Because kids are not supposed to like you when they're teenagers. They just don't. So please, 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 contract 0 to 18 in one piece. After they're 18, support the hell out of them. And you're going to find the majority of kids that you make wait are going to thank you for it later. They really are. Because a lot of them are going to go, man, I was just a lesbian. I was just gay. Oh, I'm glad you didn't do that, because I wouldn't have my penis right now. I wouldn't have my breasts right now. I wouldn't be able to breastfeed my child. Those are things, very important things, because as a kid, you're saying that you don't want something you don't know anything about. How do you know when you get to be adult, you won't want to have a child that can breastfeed? You won't want to have your penis to make love to somebody with it. You just don't know. And we can't do that to you because we love you as kids. We want to make you happy. But you got to wait. You just got to. Sorry. Okay, listen to what this person is saying. Listen to what this person, exactly. Listen to what I'm saying. Where's Joe at? I got to find Joe and Nick.
Liz in California says, I don't hate you. I just met you and I love you and your channel.
Thanks.
You're
I appreciate
beautiful.
that. That's
Love
nice of you.
Liz in California.
That's nice of you. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Liz.
I really do.
That's a nice breath of fresh air.
It is. And this is the thing. A lot of times, what I hear from the people that are in the background of these things, they send me messages afterwards usually because they don't want to be part of this, this mess. I know a transgender woman who, do you see that one, Chris?
I'm sorry.
Do you have your microphone on?
Yes.
Okay. I know a transgender woman who offered the ability to transition as a child who chose not to because he decided on caution. He's an adult now and has fully transitioned. That is a very, very wise young person. That is so wise. That is a well-raised person. We cannot look at kids have imaginary friends. Kids do crazy shit, especially going through puberty. How many of you, when you had your first boyfriend or your girlfriend, were so in love, you swore to God you were going to marry them, you were going to be with them for the rest of your lives, and if you were separated for more than 5 minutes, you felt like you're just going to die? All of us. That's what your first love is about. How many of you are still with them? Probably very, very few, if any. Because as kids, we don't see things the way they really are. And right now is even the more time you have to be even more cautious, because now it's being pushed on our kids. It's popular to say you're trans if you're a little feminine, right? It feels like you're accepted if you say you're trans, like you're part of the group. Now I'm part of it. That's wrong. That's worse. That makes it even more cautious. We must be even more cautious because they're pushing a narrative. And if you're pushing a narrative, then you have to wait like I said, then because your kid doesn't know. They just want to be accepted. Everybody likes to be liked, right? Especially in high school. Just saying. Joe says, Cross the Cow, do you have any? Okay, Joe's talking to one of the people in chat, so I'll leave that one to them. I fear you are converting me to your 18 year understands. You are, what is that? Converting me to your under 18 stance. John, I hope so. I really hope so, because go and talk to people, look up online, look up on YouTube, and listen to the people that transitioned when they shouldn't have. Listen to the people that talk about how they wanted to transition, but their parents didn't let them, and they're glad that they didn't. Because do you want to be that parent when your kid's 25 or 30 years old and goes, why would you let me do that when I was a kid? Why would you let me make that decision? I can't breastfeed my child, right? I can't make love to my partner, whether they're gay or not, because they were gay or they were feminine. You know, nowadays, if a kid says anything that's feminine, they instantly go, well, where do you fall on the, you know, the chart of your sexual identity?
Spectrum.
I don't know, whatever. Where do you want me to be? That's what most kids should say, because that's what they really mean. Where do you want me to be on it? I'll be wherever you want. Kids want to please adults. You ask a freaking 8-year-old and you show them a chart, because they did this in California. People, they got this paper and it had a bunch of boxes on it. In the first box, it said boy. The last box, it said girl. And they're asking children, where do you fall? Where are you in here? Kids are like, what do you mean? Well, this is a boy, this is a girl, where do you land in here? So that is leading the kids on. And if they think that you saying you're more the opposite of what you are is going to make the teacher like you and be happy, everybody wants to be the teacher's pet. That could be misconstrued. Then they could be made to believe that there's something that they're not. It's a we don't want to go down that. Teachers, stick with teaching. Stick with academics. Leave the parenting to the parents. Leave your political views at home, right? You're not there to guide them through their political adulthood. You're there to teach them writing, reading, math, arithmetics. These are not your children. They have parents that are their children. They don't want you raising them. They want you teaching them. My daughter is a teacher. So don't say I hate teachers. I love teachers. I love my daughter. You just got to let them do their job. You're not the parents. You're the teacher. Thank you, Dust Catcher. The person said that they are trans. Yeah, I'm a trans woman. I'm not a biological female. I cannot be, will not be, never will be a biological female. I'm a trans woman, and I'm proud to be a trans woman. I do not have man parts anymore. What do they call it on here? A pole or a hole or something gross like that?
It's something nasty. I don't remember.
I'm not a chick with a dick. I don't have a penis. I have a vagina.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that trans people out there that don't want to get bottom surgery are any less beautiful or any less relevant, as long as they understand one principal thing. You're not a biological female. It's okay. Here's when it's going to blow people's mind. It's okay if you're trans to say, I can't get pregnant. Right? It's okay if you're a trans woman and somebody asks you, can you get pregnant? For some reason, the narrative has been for them people to say, yeah, I can't. No, you can't. You can't, because you're not a biological female, period. When they say there's only two sexes, you know what you say? Yep, you're right, male and female. There's only two sexes, male and female. But there's many genders difference. We have to separate the two and stop thinking it makes you more of a woman to take something from a biological woman. It doesn't make you more of a woman, it makes you a bully. Right? We don't need that. We just need to be okay with who we are. We don't need to be them. We need to be the best us that we can be, because we're asking the public to accept us. The public is not asking us to accept them. You got to remember that. This takes time to gain the trust of the public, and the way we're going about it. The narrative that's been out there for years now of trans people doing the stupidest shit, claiming that they don't have an advantage when they do. It's not helping any. It's hurting. Because a father can't come up to you and beat the shit out of you at high school because you were in the shower with their kid and you didn't want it to be, but they can vote your rights out, right? They can go back to the local politicians and sign petitions and stuff to keep you from any kind of benefit. There's consequences for what's happening here. And here's
I like this.
What?
Joe says, humans were around long before the Bible, y'all. It's not the end all be all.
That's true. That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. And there was the Emerald Tablets or something like that wrote the Bible before the Bible was written. Figure that one
Oh,
out.
yeah.
So, yeah, like what I was saying is, and here's another thing for trans kids out there. You're in high school for 4 years. You're in the rest of your life for a lot longer than that. Hopefully, anyway. Like 80 years. What you do in high school has consequences. You are breaking the trust of the girls that used to support transgender people the most. They used to be the biggest support group for trans people. But when they started taking their spaces, taking their awards, taking their scholarships, taking their trophies, they stopped. They stopped supporting us because it was no longer about being nice and caring and loving. It was about taking something from them that they earned. And if you're a transgender athlete, answer me a few questions honestly. Do you work harder than the girls? Do you work harder than them? No. Do you know that you have an advantage? Yes. You can't tell yourself you don't when you know you do.
You have two different lines here. One is good morning, Brooks, sending love from Scotland.
Morning, Scotland.
And the very next comment is sending hate from England.
Well, at least it's even.
How's that, huh?
So anyway, people, and kids, if you're trans kids, calm down, slow down. You're going to be trans for a long, long, long time. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Don't you want to try your penis out before you chop it off? I just wanted to give it a run. Just try it out. I'm not being gross or anything like that. I'm just saying.
How do you know what you want when you're so young?
You don't know what you want until you get there. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. Because if you try it, you might never want to get rid of it. And you can still be beautiful that way. Me personally, that's what I needed to feel like Brooke. To make Brooke, in my mind, work. And not feel like I was trying to kid each other. Oh, here's one more thing, guys. And the single people out there, the single men, this is to you guys the most, the single men. Here's my advice to transgender women, because there's a lot of women not like me. You can tell that I'm transgender. You can just tell. But there's a lot of trans people out there you cannot tell. So to the trans people, for the men out there, if a guy comes up to you at a bar and he's hitting on you and he's showing you romantic, like, hey, baby, can I buy you a drink? Or whatever the hell they say nowadays. Gosh dang, you fell from the sky, you must be a star, or something stupid, whatever it is. You have an obligation to tell that person right there that you're transgender. Don't wait till later. Because they should have the right to determine whether or not they continue pursuing you or walk away at that point, not later. Not after they've committed or made a move or you guys have kissed or whatever. You have to tell them right away. It's only fair and it's only safe for you to do that. But the guy that approaches you or the girl that approaches you should have the right to say no, thank you. Appreciate it. Bye. That's just good manners, right? I know it feels good as a trans person when somebody treats you and thinks actually that you're a biological female. I know it feels good, because it's like justifying, but that's not who you are. So we need to get past that and respect the people that we're around. Respect the public that we're asking to respect us. Next.
Joe has a good comment. I don't understand why these people aren't calling out seahorses. Did y'all know the male seahorses give birth?
Yep.
Gonna go to the ocean and yell obscenities at the seahorses too?
Yeah, probably going to throw them all out of their fish tanks.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, somebody says, find my comment. Somebody says, find my comment, and it's 3 times written. It's from Laylax, L-O-Y-A-L-X. Frustrating how your help isn't very helpful with questions.
Oh, no.
That's you, Chris.
I know.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I was not really
let's find this person's
focused
comment.
on that.
They've written it 3 times, and I'm sorry, it goes by fast. I don't blame her. She does her best. LAY, where is it? Let's see.
I have it right
Oh, you
here.
have it?
Frustrating how your help isn't very
Not that
helpful
one, not that
with the
one.
questions.
The LAX one.
Okay, so we need to go backward then. I
I
will go
am.
backward and find it.
I'm trying to find it. You gonna
Well,
do that?
Why don't you go forward and I'll go backward?
Okay, you go back. She'll try to find your question. Don't take it out on her. Chrissy's doing her best. Okay, let's see. Seahorses have nothing to do with humans. You're not being very human. So it's a point. The point is, even in nature, in natural, this can be a natural thing. Still, I haven't had that question answered. While Chris looks for that one,
I'm still looking, yes.
why
I
do you
don't
hate
see-
me? Right, I really, really, really want to know what it is about me or people like me that just infuriates you. What is it? Yeah, I've never had anybody answer that. And don't say, because you're a freak, because you're an abomination. That doesn't work. That's not a conversation. That's just you being immature. It's not our nature, though. It's not the nature of something got in my way. Here we go, pitchfork. I have flaws too. Look for the good and the evil. I have flaws too. Look for the good and the evil in people. Leave a difference there. The person does not seem to be creating evil acts towards others. That's enough for me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Of course not. I want what's best for everybody. I don't want anybody to have to go through this. I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy to be transgender because it's so hard. It's a hard life. It's a hard thing. People don't respect you. They don't appreciate you. It's a hard life. I really wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Did your mom have a hard time with your birth?
No, I was almost born on the boulevard.
Any meds for her pain?
Me?
For her pain.
Oh, I'm a pain in her ass. I was more of a pain in her ass after I was born.
How long was her labor?
Mom's?
Yeah.
It was almost instant. I was the third child of my mother's. And here's the thing. You want to know the story? How I was born? I'll tell you the story. This is a good one. And it's honestly true. My mother was pregnant. She was getting ready to give birth. My dad bailed on her that day, the day I was born.
Say that again. You said it and it didn't come out.
What?
Bailed on her.
Bailed on me. On my mom.
Okay, yeah.
My dad left. Not only did he leave, he siphoned the gas out of my mother's car and put it in his so he could leave. So when she went into labor, she got in her car, started driving to the hospital and ran out of gas on the boulevard of the town that I lived in. She had to walk to find a phone because they didn't have cell phones back then. Find a phone and call. Just so happens my dad's best friend, who was like an uncle to us, I guess, and he had to come pick her up from the boulevard, take her to the hospital. She was there for 30 minutes and had me. That's how close it was for me being born in the backseat of a car. That's why my biological name was Bob, my birth name, because that guy that picked us up name was Robert. His name was Bob. So yeah, that's what I went through. I met my dad for the first time when I was 9 years old, but it has nothing to do with this. I was still raised around a bunch of ass-kicking country boys that just find them, fucking fool them, forget them. Or find them, fool them, fucking forget them, something like that. So that, anyway, that was the story of that's what my mom had to deal with. So not only did she already have 2 kids in diapers, I was the third kid, right? She prayed I was a girl, though. Isn't that funny? No husband to help. She had to move back in with her mom. And my mom was, at that time, she was 20 years old. 3 kids. Go figure. 1964, I was born. Did you find that other person's question?
I am still looking. I do not find the question asked before.
Nick says just type the question in
Type
again.
it again, yeah.
Or cut and paste.
Cut and paste, yeah. And then I can find it when it comes up next.
If more had the thought process that you have, the public would be way more accepting. Now, I feel like most trans people are following a trend. I love everyone, but will not agree with everyone. Exactly. And most trans people, here's what I've noticed. Trans people say stuff to me afterwards. I only have one trans friend, right? And doesn't even live around here. I know a lot on here. No, not one. I have other people that are friends online, but only one that I really talk to. But they come on here, and what they're afraid of, if they say the things that I'm saying, They agree with them, but if they say them out loud, that left-wing audience of theirs, that left-wing friends will disown them. They will disown them. And that's what they're afraid of being left alone. So they go with the narrative they don't believe in just so that they don't feel like they're alone or being abandoned.
Okay. The loyal Alex person that was having a question, it said something about they wrote hypothalamus thinking, that's all. To you. And then
hypothalamus?
Wrote, yes.
What about it? They want to know what it is?
No, they said hypothalamus thinking.
I don't know what that means.
Means it's your hypothalamus that's thinking.
My hypothalamus believes that I was a woman. My brain was developed, and it reached out for the hormones to tell it what to do because our brains need direction.
And then they said lots of pressure holding you in. That's all. Nothing but love with my question.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's really sweet.
Yeah. Actually, they've made lots and lots and lots of comments.
I bring no hate and non-discrimination, followers of Christ. I ask, why do you seem to follow science over scripture? I don't. I don't. The reason on here it sounds like that is because scripture is thrown at me in a hateful manner so often that I think that the Bible and God and Jesus are being misrepresented as an hateful people to worship. That's how it comes across. That if that's what Christianity is about, that's not very loving. When God clearly says in the Bible, love thy neighbor as you love thyself, right? Treat others as you'd want to be treated. Don't throw stones in glass houses. I don't know if he said that one or not. But my point is, nowhere in the Bible does it say hate somebody because they're different. That's God's job to judge me, not people in chat on YouTube. I don't hurt anybody. I don't purposely hurt anybody. I am a very empathetic person. I have a big heart when it comes to people. I will help anybody. I will give people the shirt off my back. Kind of. Well, you know what I mean. More readily before I had a boob job than now. But yeah. I was trying to be funny there, but I would absolutely do anything for anybody if they asked me. I have a hard time saying no, probably to a fault, because I think everybody is essentially goodness. For some reason, YouTube brings out the rotten in people. And for some reason, some of the worst people are the people that claim to be people delivering the word of God. I don't get that. I just don't understand that. No God that I've ever read in the Bible delivers hate.
Loyal LX that was just responding about the hypothalamus thing said, yes, that was my point. A very hard labor on the child's head, hypothalamus, could cause the malfunction with gender.
It's when I did the research on the hypothalamus, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, during child development, you guys all know what a hermaphrodite is, or intersex person where they have both sex traits on the exterior of their body. Well, during the development in the womb, there's two separate times that hormones play a huge role in the development of the baby. The first one develops the blueprint on the outside of the body that, the XY chromosome, it tells it to grow either a penis or a vagina, etc., etc. And if you get mixed signals, you can get both. That's a hermaphrodite or an intersex person. Now, majority of people get one signal only, and that's what they grow. Now, later on in the pregnancy, the brain asks, basically the architecture, what are we? What are we building here, a boy or a girl? And that is the hypothalamus that is reaching out for that information. Where that information comes from is through hormones, right? Testosterone, estrogen. Now, it could be something as simple as the mother is extremely stressed during this time of the pregnancy and get a mixed signal. Or the receptors that suck in the hormones aren't working quite right, or you get an influx of both at the same time. That's what can cause your brain to be different than your body. And you got to understand, from that point on, that is hardwired into your brain. Your brain believes that it is a girl or a boy or whatever. Your body's different, but your brain believes that. So when I was born, my brain actually believed I was a girl. Now, as I grew and realized and got older, mature, and knew what things were, I realized that I wasn't. And that's why when I was as young as 6, I used to pray to God to fix me. I'm like, you made a mistake. Oopsie. That's not supposed to be there. And it took me 56 years to get the courage to accept who I was. That's what we mean by the hypothalamus of the brain. That's that part of the brain that sees yourself. Because you remember, your brain doesn't see, it doesn't taste, it doesn't smell, it doesn't hear, none of that stuff. It is just the mainframe computer that you feed information into, and it deciphers what it means and spits it back out. That's the fact. Those are the hard scientific facts. Dr. Schwab from the Netherlands has done the most research on it. I also have a written hypothesis that I wrote. It's called the Neurological Intersexuality Hypothesis. Go to my the web page for Medium. It's a publishing site. Key in my name, Brooke Lee Rose. It'll pull it up and you can read it. Mine explains it in a more simple term. Dr. Schwab's goes deep. He's got a whole book on this shit. Wherever that is. Right here.
It's back there.
This is his book. We Are Our Brains from Dr. Schwab. This will also explain to you the studies that they did, how deep they went. They went to the cellular level of the hypothalamus and stuff. And he is credited and is known around the world. I've talked to him personally through 8 or 10 different emails that we collab back and forth. You know, I'm fortunate that he actually read my hypothesis and answered my questions, and we had good conversations from a world-renowned medical guy. This is where I got my information. Because when I became trans, I needed to know why. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so where are we at? We're going to wrap this up?
Yes.
Okay, guys, thanks again. I appreciate you guys. We've got about 9 more minutes. So if you
We
have
got 1 more minute.
No, it's I've been
Until
on
11
for an
o'clock.
hour and 21.
Oh, okay.
So I go for an hour and 30.
Okay.
So we got 8 more minutes now. If you have a question, here's another thing, guys. I do go back. I take all the chat. I put it into Chat GPT. I have them decipher a few things for me. I want to know the percentage of haters, supporters, and neutral. And then I have it go through there and pick out 10 or 15 of the questions that we missed or comments that we missed. And I'd make another video after this answering those questions or comments, because I know we miss a lot. And I think every question, everything is important, you know? So, oh yeah, by the way, like the video, like the feed or whatever. It helps the channel greatly. I'm trying to push for 10,000 subscribers. We're at about 8,000 and a half. So somewhere around there, about halfway through, almost to 9,000. But I'm on a push for 100,000, or I mean, 100,000, I wish, for 10,000 subscribers, which is not a lot as far as big channels. But to me, that's a lot of people. 10,000 is a lot of people. And that's our goal. I want to hit 10,000 people. See, you know, that would be awesome to have 10,000 people who think about transgender a little differently than the rest. We're not bad people. I'm not. I don't think I'm a bad person. Chris might think I'm a bad person.
Oh, I do not. Give me a break. You're the best.
I'm the best, yeah. So, yeah, a lot of people agree to disagree with being trans, which is okay. You know, I don't understand why you're doing it. I don't get it, but you're not trying to hurt anybody. So, yeah, my support. People honestly just want trans people to not be in the news. Everybody's so goddamn sick of hearing about trans people, especially me. Like a little joke, an inside joke. When the whole thing happened with the Super Bowl and the left-wing representation during the Spanish thing and all that stuff, right? I made a joke and I made a funny video saying that they're going to blame trans people for this too, because they blame us for everything. You know, I guess it's an inside joke. But like I said, we're just normal people. I just want a normal life. The day I go to the store and nobody laughs at me, it's a great day. It's getting better. It really is. Or maybe I'm just accepting myself more. I'm not sure. But I got laughed at less today than normal. But the point is, nobody said a word to me. Nobody would ever do that. People are genuinely good. I'm here for some reason. They grow hair on their balls when they're on YouTube. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Okay, so what do we got? I agree with you. Religious people should hate evil. Division is evil. Yes, I see division from religious people. God is our judge, not man. Thank you. You could not have said it better myself. Most older trans community are actually amazing, but it's the newer trans gay community. You're right. You're absolutely right. And here's the thing is the gay community is getting so tired of trans people because we're being represented. You never see people like me being interviewed on shows. You never see people like me having their opinions asked. You know why? Because I don't get clicks. Because my answers are normal, just like anybody else's. It's common sense. They want the crazy lunatics. That's who they want because they get the clicks. They go viral. And that's the problem. They're representing who I am. And that pisses me off because that's not who I am. I will be the first one to call my own people out. We need to police ourselves. Trans people, here's an idea. If you're trans or even people that just, if you see something online that is derogative, over exaggerated, the person is making a foot, stop. Don't watch it. Don't comment. Don't thumbs up. Don't thumbs down. Just don't watch it no more. Because that's how you kill them. Kill them with silence. If nobody clicks, nobody watches, nobody gets paid, nobody cares. Whenever I see something that has to do with transgender and it's not reality-based or common sense-based, I don't watch it. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. My favorite content creator, if they say that stuff, I don't watch the show. I just won't do it. I will not watch anything with Lily Tomlin or whatever that person is that talks to people in bathrooms. I just won't do it because it pays her. I'm not gonna be part of that. Even to say thumbs down. Because here's another thing about YouTube most people don't know. A thumbs down and a thumbs up get the same credit. They don't care. They don't care which one it is, as long as there's one of them. I always thought, gosh, if I get a bunch of thumbs down, YouTube's going to hate me. No, they don't care. One or the other, they count equally. They don't even keep track of the difference between negative and positive. So a down is the same as an up. This little Wi-Fi. I mean, I didn't know this shit until I started working on YouTube. You know, we get paid, which I don't get. I get paid. I'll show you guys. I did this once before. I'll do it again. I'll bring up my pay ledger and show you guys what I
think that's ridiculous.
Why? It's funny.
Because it's not.
No, because I think it's important that people don't think coming out of high school that they're going to make YouTube their work, right? Because it's very, very, very hard to make a living on YouTube. It's very hard. Very hard. You can make a couple pennies. All my money that I have comes from donations from people, and I put it right back into business. YouTube pays me literally 10 or 15 cents every couple days. That's about it. I think that's about it. I think the most I've ever made on YouTube in a month is $7 because my topic is controversial. You can't put the word transgender on anything and have it be spread around. They just don't. They'll just kill it right there. Here's an idea. Try this at home, folks. Write anything on YouTube, like you're going to create a short video or whatever, and have it say transgender and Trump. YouTube will not let you post that. ChatGPT will not make a thumbnail for it. They refuse. I tried, right? Even if it was good, I tried to get it. They will not put those two things on the same photo. Kind of crazy. Anyway. Let's see. What do we got?
We've got time.
That's awful to say, if Joe couldn't care less about Patton. What about Patton?
You're reading something that has nothing to do with what you just said.
Your tube is antisocial sometimes. You think so? You think it is? You think, YouTube is. I thought you're like I am. I don't think I'm antisocial. YouTube cares about making money, right? And if they don't think that you're thinking, like I haven't had anybody ask me about advertising. They say that once you hit 10,000 subscribers, things change a little bit. I know once I hit like 7,000 subscribers, the algorithm started to loosen up on the channel. What I could say, what I can't say. They wouldn't kill the feed fast, as fast. But here's what it is. So we are at 1 hour, 29 minutes. I will go back and review all the chat. And if there's a question in there, I will post a video within an hour after this one ends, answering those questions. I really appreciate you guys. It's been fun tonight. We'll meet again on Friday. All new topics. See what's happening in the world. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. Take care. That's Chris. I'm Brooke. This is Brooke Rose Talks. Too much. Brooke Rose Talks too much. Appreciate the support. Trump trans Diddy. I didn't say you couldn't say it in the chat. YouTube plays favorites. The algorithm, it's not that they play favorites. It's that they push what gets views. The unfortunate thing is, it's kind of like one of those things. We're not hiring you because you're inexperienced, but you can't get experience for us to hire you. Does that make sense? You know what I'm talking about there?
I do.
Yeah, how do I get experience if you don't hire me and give me experience? That's kind of where it is with YouTube.
Right.
They show more if you have more followers, but to get more followers, you need more views. Go figure. So people like me, we grow very slowly. If I were to switch to the left side and become a left-wing person, my it would go crazy. It would go through the roof. But I can't do that because it's not who I am. Remember, be in the center. Vote policies, not politics. Everybody should start in the center on everything and then go with what they say. Whatever you believe in. Bye, guys. See you on Friday. You guys like my shirt?